I'm curious what you think about the body positive influencers who've died of obesity and who glorify obesity.
What makes you say they're glorifying? Do you have like a clip of that or something?
Tons of clips. My grandma died from obesity.
It was on her death certificate.
So I'm curious, do you think that being overweight is healthy?
What does that mean, overweight, exactly?
You didn't tell me, oh, you're beautiful, you don't need to change, you're healthy.
That makes me so sad.
It doesn't make me sad, though, because do you think plus-size models are brainwashed?
What does that mean?
Well, what's crazy is not enough people speak about my perspective. They always talk about being overweight's healthy, fat shaming is bad, don't tell people the truth.
You don't think that we talk about people being overweight enough?
No.
That right there is going to be a perfect example of algorithm. I would encourage you to think back on how you're talking and what you're saying, because a lot of what you say comes from a very, I don't mean this in a negative way. This word sounds negative, but in a very selfish way. Instead of you...
Hello and welcome to the Step It Up podcast. We have a special guest today, Misty Murray. She's an actor, dancer, ice skater, plus-size model, and we're really excited to have her in-house. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Excited to be here.
You're local, so we really lucked out that you were able to come out.
Yeah.
And would love to hear a little bit more about you. You know, like what makes you tick, and what had you join us today, actually?
Yeah. Okay. So what makes me tick in general? I think making people happy makes me tick in general. I am doing a lot of inner work, and I like to be able to help people do that inner work also. So offering advice, also doing the modeling. I get like clothes and things sometimes. So I'll carry clothes in my back trunk or in my back seat and give them to homeless people, which is really like enjoyable to me, because I'm like, it makes them smile and they're like, oh girl, look at your cute style. And I'm like, have a good day, you know? That's probably what makes me tick in general. And then what had me join you guys is I heard about you guys' health, journey, and just mother and daughter having a show is really, really sweet. And having an opportunity to share my views is exciting for me. And yeah, that's kind of what motivated me to be here, yeah.
Nice. I'm like really impressed that you're an ice skater.
Most people are.
I was like watching one of those videos and I was like, wow, that's like a dream of mine. And you make it look so easy.
Girl, that was like 13, 14 plus years of competitive ice skating, waking up at 4 a.m., going with a coach, traveling, being on a team. It was grueling, and I was plus size and chubby the whole way. Yeah, I was 212 pounds competing. Wow. Yeah, doing axles. But back in the day, you were just like, oh, you're fat. You don't know what you're doing. Now I recognize that I was just really, really strong. On one leg, I could go down and come up. Obviously, I've lost that strength. I'm not competitive anymore. But yeah, it was more about being strong for me in that moment, rather than what people wanted me to do was lose weight. Because no matter what I did, I couldn't. I tried a lot of different things. And I kind of noticed as I've grown that I think that maybe I was trying to fight what might have been natural for me. I'm mixed. I'm half white, half black. And I feel like part of my tribe, or wherever my ancestries come from, wherever they lived before, their bodies, the women especially, were curvier women. Because sometimes when I'll go to the gym, I'll see women who've got bodies like me, and I'm like, wow, like I recognize that in you, like without even doing that much. And being a competitive figure skater, being able to jump and doing things that people would be like, wow, you can do that. The fact that I was able to do that shows that maybe it wasn't necessarily my body that was wrong. Maybe it was my understanding of my body. And had I thought about building strength versus trying to like become less, I think that I would have been more inside, I've been happier inside, and also probably would have changed my body. You know what I mean? Like by default, just because I am now concentrating on building these muscles rather than trying to like not eat or do this or do that, you know. And then there's all these fads, especially back in the day, there was like really unhealthy things that we were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know all about those things.
We all did.
Did they throw shade at you because you didn't look like a figure skater?
Yeah. I mean, number one, I'm mixed, and so they're seeing black, and number two, I'm the fattest girl in the whole rink. So it's like, yeah, they're going to throw. It was not so much a shade, because I think they didn't think that I could do that, not knowing that if I competed, if I tested to be in the same level as you, we can do the same things.
Right.
So now you better put a smile on, because not only am I an actor, but I'm sorry, an ice skater, but I'm an actor. So now I'm the coaches. I'm I'm winking at the judges. I'm doing all the cutest things, just like selling it and landing the same things you're landing. So then next to me, you're probably crying because you didn't think that you were going to win next to me, and I don't know the difference because at the time I didn't realize that I stood out. Like I knew I was fat, but I didn't realize that, or chubby or whatever have you, but I didn't realize that that was like such a big thing on top of this. Like it just didn't occur to me.
Yeah, I get that. You had the same thing happen to you when you were dancing. Do you remember that?
I was a dancer, and I was always the biggest one in class.
Oh, and they were so mean to you.
I danced for 8 years competitively.
I was not competitive dance. That's very difficult.
But ballet was the worst. It was always the worst when I was in ballet class, because all the skinny minis would always be like, but
little petty.
The teachers, oh my gosh, you don't fit in here. What are you doing? Like with their little accents, and like they're just like they like take their stick and like hit your leg, and they're like, lose some weight, all the things like they say it. They're honest, which is, I think it's actually a good thing they're honest. It really showed me. It was like, I could say it was my genes. I thought that for a long time. And then I actually realized, like after doing countless diets and them not working, I kind of realized, oh, maybe it's not the genes. Maybe it's actually just the fact that I need to find a lifestyle that is actually going to create long-term results where I don't gain the weight back or do a yo-yo thing. And that's actually when I realized that I, maybe did need to lose weight and it wasn't a genetic thing. But I'm curious, when you say genetics, like what you're saying that possibly your ancestors could be the reason that you...
I think they definitely are. I think a lot of people, like you'll see people who can metabolize milk and some people that can't. Yeah. Some people that were raised eating rice and then the next person, they get diabetes instantly. I think that, our ancestors, where we grew up, if we were near water or if we were near land, whether we eat meat or whether we metabolize fish, I think that has a big play in it. And when you talk about being in ballet class, definitely was in ballet class and definitely was already chubby, but they would tell me to stick my butt in. Well, here's my ancestors coming out, because no matter how straight I stood, my butt is bubble. So when I'm pushing my butt in, I'm now pushing my pelvis forward, which is actually not the correct way to stand in ballet. Things have changed so much since now, because we do recognize that some people do have butts. But being one of the black girls in the class and the fat girl in the class, I was never afforded that luxury of, hey, my body is shaped differently. Like I was raised, my white side are very thin, no ass, they're bigger on the top. And that was an option. I'm endowed here because of them. But the bottom half, I've got a butt, and that wasn't going to go anywhere, even if I am to lose weight. I'm not. And so I feel like there's a fine line, right? There's going to be a line of ancestry that is going to affect you no matter what. And then there's also going to be what you're doing day to day. You know what I mean? So if you find that there are parts of your ancestry that make you a little thicker, are there ways to combat it? For sure, then do that. But to hate what it is right now, I find that to be transgressive. Is that a word? To not help out. In that same way, might look at a nose and be like, oh, they see the hump. They're like, oh, I hate my nose. It's a big, ugly nose. I'd be like, wow, that nose shows where you're from. That shows what mountains they had to climb to get here to be able to breathe through that. That shows your history. It's so beautiful. And so I feel like there's also an attribute to that to bodies. You wouldn't expect a Samoan to be the same size as a Thai person, because their ancestry shows wherever they were at, they had to be slightly different.
So you do think that some races are possibly just born fat?
I don't know necessarily say fat, but with fat, yes.
And that they can't lose it?
By naturally, I would say that, because I'm coming from someone who was always chubby, and I definitely could have eaten better, and like that will be a parent's thing because I was a child. But if I'm waking up every day at 4 a.m. ice skating like my butt off, and I can do jumps, I'm jumping in the air, lifting myself, going on one leg on a skate, coming all the way down and coming all the way back on one leg, that's near like impossible to do. Like that's very, very difficult to do. If I'm able to do that and still be that thickness, at some point, and then I'm going to the doctor and they're telling me they can't find anything wrong at all, except for the fact that I exceed their BMI, which is a very Western view of what we should all be.
So you don't believe in the BMI?
It's not that I don't believe in it, but I don't believe that it should be across the board for every ethnicity.
Interesting. So you think BMI has something to do with ethnicity?
I do, yeah.
So that BMI should be different for different ethnicities?
I would say that, yeah. Because you wouldn't, then it's all Samoans are about to die. You know what I mean? Like, when's the last time you saw a Samoan who's shaped much like your beautiful mom, ever. And they're beautiful people. And there's not something wrong with them. They're not unhealthy, right? This is the way they're built, whatever they're made, strong. It has to do with a lot of climate. Now, are there bigger ones? For sure. Could those ones get back into some sort of shape? Absolutely.
I do think statistically speaking, though, and Mom, you can speak a lot to this, being overweight, it's not like impossible to lose weight. Like any ethnicity, any body can lose weight, right? From the studies that you told
I
me.
mean, all my ancestors have diabetes, heart disease, some have cancer, but it's mostly overweight. So I've always said I have the fat gene. And I feel like I've been like fighting an uphill battle ever since I can remember. Like I literally quit ballet at like age 4, like before kindergarten, because I had that whole like, you are not built for this. Like you're too fat, basically. Fatso was my nickname. My first Weight Watchers meeting was at age 5. Like
how ridiculous is that? You're a kid.
Right, but I was fat.
Fat.
I know I was 100 pounds in 3rd grade. Like no, I was definitely fat, and my mom was definitely fat, and so we ended up like an Overeaters Anonymous. So I've got compulsive eating disorder, 12-step program on the kitchen table. Mom was a Weight Watchers lecturer, gaining and losing hundreds of pounds, and like seeing all the health like problems and mental issues and depression and all the things, and the joy and the celebration, and then food is a source of so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so
you have
much.
to eat it.
Yeah, and but I just I don't know. I just, because of all the suffering, I just realized, I was like, I want to change this. So then I started learning back in the day when that movie, What the Bleep, came out. I remember listening to Bruce Lipton, and he's like, epigenetics. The first time it entered my mind, there's something called epigenetics. And I'm like, oh, so I am born with a predisposition to obesity. I can look at a bagel and I'm going to gain weight. That's at least what it felt like. Yeah. And then how come these models, because I was with Ford, and sometimes we'd work with straight-sized models, and I was a plus-size model, and they would order a hamburger and french fries. And I'm like, what's up with that? Yeah. It would take me 2 weeks to recover from that. I'd have to starve myself to get the weight off that I would put on from eating that.
That's why I say genes.
So there is a genetic component in it, and we also adapt.
For sure.
So, but then how far? So trust me, I've tried, and Penelope can attest to this, every extreme diet you can possibly envision. Yeah. I mean, I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying that,
I mean, I've tried some things too.
I wanted to be a twig. Twiggy was in fashion in the 80s. Like that was like my...
That was drugs.
Come to find out. So, but I was trying for that. Like I wanted to be that. I wanted to wear those clothes. I wanted to look like that in those clothes. But that was never going to be a reality for me unless I went into some kind of disorder, some kind of extreme dieting. So I've had to accept a certain reality of my thighs and my belly and my breasts and my arms. As much as I wish it were different, and as hard as I work to transform those areas, I do see a little bit of a change. But it takes a lot of consistency.
Where for someone, it doesn't take anything.
It's true, but they have other problems.
Well, I mean, for sure. It's just interesting though that I think that what happens are like when I was on the journey, because I guess that like potentially, because I mean, I've been on also some weight loss things and tried, and I've successfully lost weight, but I was on shots and taking pills and not sleeping, and it was just nothing healthy happening, but the weight came off. I've never been able to I've never gone past a certain point doing it just naturally, if that makes sense.
It does, 100%.
And so I feel that when it came to those in the past, I got to a point of like, I don't think that I was really wanting to lose weight as much as I wanted to love myself.
For sure.
Like, just like I saw someone else and loved them. And so I think what happened is I manifested being able to do that. So when I was a kid, I used to hate my hair. I wish my hair was like my mom, grandma. I wish it was like, straight and long and not curly. And then what did I do? What I really wanted was to love myself. Life gave me an opportunity to learn how to straighten my hair and then just love it curly. So now I love it curly. And I feel like I was able to go that transition with my body as well. Like, it's not what I see here, but can I love it as is? And should I still continue to work on it? Should I still continue to try to eat healthy? Should I still I still want to be around. I still want to move. Like my job is active. Obviously, I'm still skating every here and there. So it's like I want to be able to move and be active and be limber. But I also want to love myself and not be hating myself along the journey, because we're not here for very long. And so to hate yourself in the now just seems so silly.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like that delicate balance of that honesty of like, this is where I am, I want to be around, and yet still accept yourself. And to me,
Yeah.
it's that delicate balance.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes I've gone through phases where I've been like, I love myself and I'm not, I'm good. Like I'm not gonna try. But that didn't last for very long. I don't think hate ever gets us anywhere, but I think honesty gets us everywhere.
Like fat shaming is also being honest. So what do you think about fat shaming?
I don't think shaming is something that comes from a positive place. And they've done multiple studies that humans react and will do better and thrive off of positive reinforcement rather than negative. So when you're using the word shaming, you've kind of already, in my opinion, answered your question that you're not going to get a positive result from that because you're putting only negative in. Encouraging someone now, hey, listen, you're doing a great job. You look great as is. You know what? And let's go get a salad for lunch. You know what I mean? Doing things that are positive reinforcements, encouraging positive things, I think I know from experience gets further than fat shaming. Oh, look at you. Why are you wearing that? You're disgusting. You make me sick. Why are you in ballet class? What you can't dance. Meanwhile, had you not jumped out of ballet class because of shame, how strong would you have been? Could you have been? What kind of ballerina could you have been at that point? Fantasia, the little hippo, she's doing her thing. Like we laugh about it, but like you know what I mean? What did you take yourself away from
Right.
because we got shamed?
Right. It's
And that
true.
wasn't a positive place. And so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's positive.
I'm curious what you think about the body positive influencers who glorify obesity and prop themselves up.
Yeah. So I think that any of them would also say the same thing. I don't think they're glorifying any kind of obesity. I think what they're doing is loving themselves in the now. And it's okay for you not to want to change. Do you know what I mean? Like you wanted to change. Beautiful, and you did it, and you did a great job. I have changes that I want, and I'm working towards them as well. You wanted to change, and you did that. But that is your life. You're entitled to it. Your life, you're entitled to it. I don't think we have the right in any facet to be telling somebody else what they should and should not be doing. If they want to, I'm fat and I love this and I want to wear this. That has to be okay because the next person who hates themselves and who does want to change, who may not be over here, publicizing, is seeing that and now is able to love themselves better based on what they're seeing that person do.
Okay, and the 4 body positive influencers that died last month under the age of 45 from obesity, is that something that we should also say that's totally fine, you do you, let you do you?
I don't think that in general being unhealthy is something that is a positive thing. And so no one is saying that, yes, let's do that. Let's follow suit. What we're saying is, was he happy when he died? And if it was his version of happy, not yours or mine version of happy, oh, he would have been happier had he been able to touch his toes. No, was he happy as it was? Regardless, then, what you're not promised today or tomorrow.
That's interesting you say that because there are, like, for example, we look at people who are obese, but we don't look at them as addicts, but we look at heroin addicts as addicts.
We
And
definitely
so,
look at them as addicts. Carbohydrates are more addictive than meth.
right. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
Well, hold on. When we talk about carbohydrates, like not all carbohydrates are the same. You mean like
No, they're not.
vegetables are for
but your
carbohydrates.
body still craves carbohydrates the same way or worse than meth.
But I really want to get to this because I always think of people dying from obesity, right? Like my grandma died from obesity. She,
It was on her death certificate as
these
one
are
of her
body
causes
positive
of death. Yeah.
influencers who've died of obesity, and they're glorifying. In my opinion, they're glorifying it.
What
say
makes
they're
you
not.
say they're glorifying?
They're glorifying it because they're showing themselves online and they're telling everyone that it's beautiful and fine. And when I was 300 pounds, they told me that it was okay to be overweight. And I believed them, and I kept gaining weight. I kept eating more junk food, and I said it was fine. And I gained so much weight, and I was so sick.
Who's they? When you say that
Body positive influencers, TikTok, social media, all the influencers online.
they came and they told you that it was
No,
fine
they
for
were
you.
posting content that I was consuming, that the algorithm was feeding me, that I then watched, consumed. They were like, oh, it's fine to be overweight. Being overweight's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not even unhealthy. They were saying it's not even healthy. Even today, they say it's not unhealthy.
I've never seen. Do you have like a clip of that or somewhere?
Tons of clips. Yeah, on my phone.
I've never seen that from my experience. The body positive people, and I'm a body positive person. I think the ground baseline is to love yourself in the now, more than it's okay to be this. Like, would I tell someone else to be my weight? No, but if they're already my weight and they want to love themselves as is and they want to be cute right now and they want to have that motivation to even want to show up to the gym because they're not so embarrassed of themselves to do so, then that's what I want them to do.
But
That's the positivity.
is it helpful to love themselves where they're at for so long they don't feel like they need to make a change?
I think it's important to love yourself no matter what. I mean, if you don't have a leg and you can't make that change, should you love yourself?
Well, it's funny you say that because body positivity actually originated from people who were disabled, who didn't have arms and legs. And then it kind of slid down to people who were really overweight, and now people who are even like bedridden because of their weight. And I guess my question to you would be like, where do you draw the line between like, it's okay to love yourself and have confidence, but then it's also like, this is your health that you're now putting at risk, and you're showing thousands of young women that it's okay to be this way, or you're showing that you should love yourself at this way.
I would say it's in the words, body positive, wherever you're at, whatever you look like, whatever your physical form is in this life form, your journey, your meat body, you should love it. You should feel good about it. And in loving something though, normally you take care of it, or you try your best to. So if that's being lost, or if that was lost on you when you were watching these, that's super unfortunate. However, I don't find that that's what I'm receiving from these same people that you're saying it.
I think it's an age thing too. I don't know how old you are, definitely younger than me, but Penelope's era, like I think anyone under the age of 24, they don't have as much of a separation between social media and the reality of what the world represents. And so although you and I might look at it and be like, oh, well, that's not what they meant by that. Or like people her age are actually influenced by, because I couldn't understand it. When she was 300 pounds and her psychiatrist was telling me, don't talk about it, you're the problem. And her medical doctor was saying, don't talk about it. You're making it worse. And I mean, I was just saying, hey, Penelope, let's have healthy food. Let's go for a walk. I was trying to encourage her, but she knew what I was saying. And it pissed her off. And she was like, I don't want any of that. And so she was able to go to social media and find reasons.
The validation that she needed, that she wasn't getting from you.
Yeah.
Can I ask how it started?
That's a good question, actually. Penelope, how did it start?
Me being overweight.
Yeah, well, because I don't think it started. You didn't expect it to get so out of hand. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I would say we were moving a lot. I was always chubby my whole life. I was a little overweight. And then it got really bad once we moved to California because everyone was so skinny. And I was like, wow, I look nothing like them. And I really stood out because I'm like the tallest girl in class.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'9.5". So, no, you always say I'm 5'10".
I think you're taller than me, and I'm 5'9".
Everyone measures me differently, and I honestly don't know. But let's just say I'm 5'10".
They do that to me too.
Let's just say I'm 5'10", and you're 5'8". I'm 5'10".
They told me I was 5'7" at Skims. I was like, you guys need to do that over again. Do that one more time.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. And then I moved to California, and there was a 7-Eleven at the bottom of my hill. And it was the first time that I could eat junk food, because my whole life I never had junk food. I was like, what is that? Like, what's a burger from McDonald's? Never had it, And then I finally would go down my hill because it was right next to my school, and I'd go get junk food, and I'd get a lot of junk food. Sour Patch Kids, Goldfish, taquitos, donuts, like you name it, I was eating it. And I was trying it all, and then I started binging it. And then I started throwing it up. So I was in a really bad binge purge cycle for years. And I'd go out to all the restaurants around me and eat all the junk food in mass amounts, and I put on the weight really fast.
Where were you working that you just have all this money to throw down on food?
It was her money.
I
took her money.
Okay.
I stole money from her.
Okay.
Paid her back, but I stole money from her.
Okay.
And she'd be like, what are these bills from? Like, what am I running up all these bills for all this food? And she also was like, we would buy some junk food at the grocery store sometimes because my therapists were like, oh yeah, buy it for her. My doctors and therapists didn't tell me there was anything wrong with what I was doing. They actually were supporting it, even though it was harming me.
You found the one doctor in LA, because I can't even go. One time I went to go and get a medical marijuana card, and they were like, did you know about your weight? And I'm like, literally, I've got bad PMS. Can you just give me, any
Although
doctor
your PMS
always.
did go away.
That's true.
When you lost the weight, you had terrible PMS.
That's true. Like,
and
all
it's
the
gone.
Problems that I had when I was overweight
Sleep issues
went away.
Yeah.
When I lost the weight.
Yeah.
And the people also don't talk about that. Like, you're right. A lot of people go to the doctors and they're like, oh, the first thing look at is my weight. Well, weight is like one of the number one causes of all preventable diseases. And no one's talking about that, you know?
I don't think it's just weight though, right? Because if you have someone who's super strong, we need to be really specific because it's not just weight, right? It's a type of weight that you're carrying, the fat,
Right,
what you're eating.
but you need a DEXA scan to really like.
I mean,
and that's
yeah.
expensive. It's like $1,000 minimum. So that's tricky to know like how much your body is, adipose,
Right.
visceral, and non-visceral. It's it's a whole thing. Like I'm super strong. Like we used to lift weights. I'm like, Penelope, if I lift weights like that, I'm gonna be like a bodybuilder.
ripped, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
get the same
I have an
feeling.
unusual body in that way. We both do. Like, and you do too. Like we gain strength. Like I'm so strong. My friends, when I did CrossFit, they were like, "Girl, you need to like back off. You're looking a little scary," because we build muscle.
Yeah.
And it just gets kind of bulky, and that's just not the look I was going for. But I was like, I'd rather have a dancer's body. So I've been working on that for the last 10 years. I don't know how it's working out, but I'm trying.
I mean, hey.
I'm gonna keep trying. But you were saying it started with the junk food, and what's interesting about the junk food, I took this course a couple years ago. There's a bunch of research that came out on nutritional psychology, and I was fascinated by it. I'm like, I have got to like take this course because finally there's some correlations that I've always suspected, and now I want to see what these over 3,000, I don't know, 288 studies had to say about the correlation between what we eat and our psychology. And they were talking about the neurobiology of addiction. And I'd known something about it, right, because of OA, Overeaters Anonymous, with my mom growing up. But then they have proven now that this hippocampal pathway in your body shifts into addiction when you eat junk food. Like the highly palatable foods.
That's the carbohydrates that we're being addicted to. That's the high fructose corn syrup that's being in there.
Also, yeah, but it's anything that has high fat, salt, and sugar. And even when I make my raw chocolate or my popcorn, like there's still high fat, There's still like there's those three elements, high in carbohydrates, right? But also it's fat, salt, and carbohydrates, right? So think about anything. French fries.
Can I ask, while you were eating all this stuff, were you active at all?
Not really. I was a dancer in the beginning, and then I stopped dancing, and then I gained all the weight, and then in COVID is when I lost the weight.
I
When I
lost
was
a lot of
stuck
weight during
inside.
COVID too.
You did?
Yeah, I was jogging like every single day. There was nothing else to do.
Wow, it must have felt so good.
I liked how active I was, but it wasn't necessarily like, I liked how it felt. Like I'm still doing the workout. I'm just not running as far now. But I was also I wasn't just working out. That's not the reason why I lost weight, because I work out anyways. I was in a program also that was like doing these like RVF like things, like, because I was like, okay, if I take a little bit off my tummy, then I'll have like whatever those BBL body looks like, because I already have ass and titties. And so if I just do a little bit of that, that'll be fine. And that's the reason why I did. And then when I stopped it, I continued to work out, but because I stopped that, I just ended up gaining the weight back.
I know cardio is really a big key for us too. Really big key, but it doesn't always look like running. I don't know. I feel like I have too much jiggle to run, but I still like to do it.
Put 2 sports bras on and
I just go
going,
for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you think that being overweight is healthy?
What does that mean, overweight exactly?
Like on a BMI spectrum?
Then no.
Or
because
hips, the
don't
Or a waist to height
height
ratio?
ratio.
I think it depends on the person. And I would also challenge, you were saying that you were like eating this weight and stuff, don't take this the wrong way, but you being the parent, I wouldn't blame you for that. I would say, hey, listen, because my grandparents had me in dance, in basketball, in volleyball. I was like an equestrian. I was doing a lot of active stuff, and that was the way they were combating me, that I was overweight. And so it wasn't, and I sometimes ate, but I also didn't eat bad food either. So you having access to that, you not working out at all, doing that kinds of thing, I would say that probably has more to do with it, rather than you just going to online and being validated by the other people because you weren't doing anything else. And that means you're comparing yourself to people when you don't even know what they're doing.
But I was eating like 3 pizzas and,
I mean,
2
that's fine, but then on top of not working out, you're obviously, I mean, like, I've never gotten to that point. I've never gotten to the point where I eat 3 pizzas. But here's the thing, without having to be a big eater, people will assume I'm a big eater no matter what. And that's why I say it's so different, because you're comparing yourself, well, not you're comparing yourself, but if we compare our journeys together, I wasn't doing the same things you were doing, and yet I was still overweight. I wasn't doing the same things you were doing by any means. I was an athlete. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't sit there and say like yours was healthy, and I can't sit there and say mine was healthy or not healthy. But I can say that the way that we were handling our lives, I was handling my life in a much more healthy way than you were at that time.
Yeah, and I
You
feel
were horseback riding.
Yeah, that's true. But
I
that's
bribed you.
yeah,
I shamelessly bribed
They
you.
let you on the horse at 300?
yeah. I'm a tall.
They don't, after 250, they complain. I've been I mean,
Oh no, they complained.
okay.
Tall 300. That's you can hide it pretty well, but I did not hide it.
Oh, because you are really tall too. You're probably a curvy girl.
Not in the good way, but my question to you really would be, you're saying like maybe it has a little something to do with my mom. Maybe it does, but I feel like at the end of the day we all have to take responsibility. Like we're the ones consuming the product.
Sure, and it's not an attack towards you by any means.
No.
But you're a kid.
Well, not really. I mean, I was teen.
I mean, here's the thing. When you get older, the more you're going to realize how much you are a kid even right now. And I mean that in the best way, not in a condescending way, but just you are still young. Your body's still moving. You're lubricated. Like even your thought process, like you could be like, oh, I don't want kids. And in 3 years be like, oh my God, I cannot wait. You are going to change and morph and you still are growing. And so I wouldn't blame you personally for not having that control or that thought process to not, because I mean, we throw rocks at cars at 21 playing stupid things. We drive when we're drunk, when we're really young, because we're not thinking, your brain is not fully matured until you're 25. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, you should have done better and you messed up and this is I'd have been like, oh, like, but you were going through your own thing, your own struggle. So like,
No, we had like a whole breakdown around this. Remember where I was like, I'm enabling you and I'm supposed to accept?
Because my grandparents definitely enabled my food. Like there was dessert after. That's their fault. Me working out was one thing, but I definitely had access to sweets.
So we were with her psychologist. She had like therapy 3 times a week. I was like desperate to get to the root of this thing. And I just remember him like, telling me I have to accept her. And I was like, I do accept her. And Penelope's like, no, you don't. And I said, no, I do. I said, but I'm in a real struggle because I'm the one who's enabling her. And I don't want to enable her. But if I don't enable her, then I'm causing the problem by being restrictive or not allowing or drawing the line or, bribing her to swim or to play tennis or to volleyball or all the things, And so it was such a mortal coil. It was such a challenge with all these opposing forces.
That sounds very difficult.
Which was like, I was like, how do I fight this thing? And
what's the right thing to do?
Well, and then now that I know about this like neurobiology of addiction, I really understand that the junk food was just like it was going to happen if she continued eating the junk food. Yeah. And so like the junk food asked for more of the junk food.
Yes.
Because the bacteria in her gut just wanted more of it. And that gut brain axis is going to make her brain crave that food and then drive her to steal even to get it. And then she found herself in like this very difficult cycle, which I think a lot of people find themselves in. Mm. It's a huge challenge. And I think that's why America is more obese than ever and that 1 in 3 children are obese.
Yeah.
That is really a problem. That's a huge problem for our future, our healthcare system, because we know that
it's part of our healthcare system, though. They make money off of us.
For sure.
They're not like silent in this. They make McDonald's $3 and a salad $7 for a reason, because they know when you eat that McDonald's, you're not only going to want more McDonald's, which is trash, by the way, but you're not only going to want more McDonald's, you're going to then suffer from the things you get. And then they all stem from mucus, from too much sugar in your blood, from the slowness. It's all connected. And then what do? You get cancer, you get diabetes, you get Alzheimer's, whatever the thing you're going to get from all those things. And they get money off the back end.
I know.
And then you pay them for the pills for theirs. So it's a big circle and they love it.
And the only one that's winning is them, actually.
So, I mean, sorry, but when you were living abroad, like they don't, and I just came back from Trinidad and they had the best food I've ever had. Okay, let me take that back. China was really good food, but Trinidad has amazing food. And it wasn't necessarily the most healthy things, but the goat they're eating was just alive. Yeah. You know what I mean? The stuff they're doing, they just ground it up. It's all natural, and you can taste the difference. You can feel the difference in your body.
Yeah.
You can eat a full meal and be like, oh, I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Here you eat a full meal, depending on what it is. And even if it is trying to be healthy, like we have so many like
additives, preservatives, chemicals.
Her vegetables
GMO.
aren't even like real.
I know, herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, genetically modified.
And then what do you eat?
Yeah.
Have a glass of water.
Well, I don't know. How much time do you have?
The water is recycled. We're not safe.
Oh, well, I was on MasterChef. I love food. I'm like the
congratulations. That's kind of cool. I used to watch
the ultimate
shows.
foodie.
Okay,
I love food, and we don't actually go out much because we don't feel great after we eat the food, except for a few select locations.
Some places.
Yeah, but it's also really expensive.
I mean, nowadays, is it cheaper? I don't know. Like, if you're going to Trader Joe's, I guess that's the only way you're going to win.
Yeah. Erewhon's, forget about it.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. I'm glad that you see the same thing we see, at least in who's winning and who's playing the game and who's in charge.
You can taste and you can feel, you can see the difference. You know what I mean? I'm not over here saying like, oh, definitely try to be unhealthy. No. But that being said, I'm going to try to make positive choices in the now that I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what do you not 100%? I don't know 100% in the now.
No, I mean like as far as like I would encourage people to eat healthy. I would encourage people to work out. And I would encourage people to love themselves at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it wasn't until I increased my ability to accept you and the situation that you were in and myself for, all the problems that I thought that I had or that I think that I have, that we had a breakthrough. And we did. We had like a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it was profound.
But you didn't tell me to, like, you weren't like, oh, you're beautiful, you don't need to change, you're great, you're healthy. Like, you would never tell me that because that wasn't the truth. And that's where I think, like, there's, like, a line.
And that makes me so sad.
No, but it doesn't make me sad, though, because I feel like she was telling me the truth, and one day I was able to look in the mirror and be like...
fair, it's not the truth. It was her where she was at, her truth.
It was the truth. I wasn't healthy.
You are beautiful, and you were beautiful as is.
I wasn't beautiful, and I wasn't healthy.
You were not healthy, but you were still beautiful.
I was not beautiful. I didn't feel beautiful.
You may not have felt beautiful, and you may have been told you were beautiful, but your body doesn't define your beauty.
But it does, and that's okay. So that's where I feel like it does. Like today, people say, "Oh, don't believe in today's beauty standards." Any size is beautiful. I think our hearts are beautiful. I think our souls are beautiful, and I think that we as human beings beneath the skin are beautiful. But I do think saying that there's no external, like anyone's external beauty is beautiful, would be a lie, because it's also harmful, because there are so many skinny people or fit people who work so hard, hours and hours in the gym every day. Trainers, bodybuilders, and they compete in this. And to say that everyone's beautiful, it's like putting them down, like, oh, all the work you do is not great. It's not beautiful.
People that look like that don't put that work in, and they're
still
also
giving
them the same. But you see what I'm saying? Your
it's
argument was that they worked for it, and you're belittling their work.
They don't work for it. I think it's
right.
great.
But that's what I'm saying is, so then it's not because they worked hard that they're getting this, because you're seeing it as a standard of beauty, and I would challenge that. The only reason why is because I was raised being and I'm just going to bring it up again because for me this was my challenge, and this is how I ended up getting past my weight, is that I was never the standard of beauty where I was from, because I was raised by all white people. Okay, my mom and my grandma, both blonde hair, blue-eyed, beautiful women, but very slender. And so the idea of beauty was never me. My nose, my lips, my butt, my hair. I had to learn that the standard of beauty has to do with what I thought was beautiful instead of what someone else thought was beautiful.
That's really powerful.
That's where it came from.
That's really
That's why I had to learn to love my fat too, because I couldn't continue to just hate myself because someone else said that was more beautiful.
And oftentimes it's that moment of loving yourself and accepting yourself that the weight just magically melts off.
That's how I ended up becoming and realizing the unhealthy habits I had to change, to try to be more healthy. Not try to change my body, but try to be more healthy within what I was given. And then it goes where it's going to go from there.
Yes, and I will
said you were ugly. I never said that.
No, but that's
You're not going to say you're ugly, but we know when our parents, like my grandma would be like, you'd be really pretty if you just lost some weight. And they don't know that that's what they're saying. And back in the day, that was okay to say.
I think
you know what I
it's
mean?
still okay to say. I feel like we don't say it enough today. Like today, we say, you're beautiful, you're great, be overweight, it's fine, we love you no matter what. And that's not actually good. We see it harming our society today because we see more and more overweight people today. The obesity pandemic is growing at rapid rates, but 4 million people died last year.
I feel like it has to do with the food choices and what we're giving in America, not what we're told about ourselves.
So should we blame the food industry?
That's 100%. It's the government.
So our mouths have nothing to do with it.
I'm telling you right now, no, there's not food in America unless you order it outside of America that's going to be not processed, not with homogenized.
Well, that's not entirely true. But you have to know, that's the problem, is that we don't know.
Even our vegetables that are grown, they've put stuff in it.
But we're not taught. Our parents didn't teach us because they didn't know any better. Our schools didn't teach us. Our doctors aren't teaching us. It is actually a huge gap in education that the big ag and industry is profiting from.
Yeah.
It's actually our responsibility to get educated about it, because we actually don't know what to eat. We don't really even know what healthy means. Yeah. I mean, and we're redefining it right now.
Yeah.
And
internet, we have more access to those different options. But then again, it's still going to vary per person. I really feel like that.
Of course. And different stages of our lives. Like there was a time you tried to eat no carbohydrates at all. You were full-blown keto. And you were like going into ketosis, and you were like, this is the way to go. And then after a while, you're like, this doesn't feel right. And then you shifted to something else, and then you shifted to something else. And then, we try these different things to see what works for us. And then, it's hard when like nothing works and you have to keep changing. It's really challenging. Yeah. But I mean, now carbohydrates are apparently like the antithesis. Like everyone is like, oh, carbohydrates are bad. And I'm like, well, actually we need carbohydrates.
We need it to run our brain, but we don't need as much as we take.
Well, from vegetables, in my opinion, from vegetables. Like I really do believe we need vegetables.
I mean, there's complex and then there's simple carbohydrates, and you want to have the complex carbohydrates. But getting access to them and getting full by them, and even getting ones that are not messed with, very hard to find.
Very hard to find. We have a few, but I think everybody, not everybody, but most people can find local people that actually have some integrity.
Farmers markets is what I've been telling myself.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store, go to Ralph's and get vegetables or fruit, and they taste like crap, like just bland. And I was raised where my grandma, she had a green thumb, and we had a backyard, and everything was grown.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, it was great. She's a good cook too.
There's a farmer actually down the street.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I should.
You guys are like an hour away though.
I know. Well, you can come once a week.
Okay.
Take a walk on the beach.
Come get it. Yeah. Have a little bag of stuff.
But there are a couple of really good farmers too that we always target at the farmers market. But you're right. You have to go out of your way. You got to do the work, and you got to like find out, where to get your things because like what good food tastes like. Yeah. We know what good food tastes like, and we know what good food feels like. Yeah. Because nothing like is comparable with that. And we got to eat. I don't think not eating is an option.
It's true, and I do.
You tried it.
Oh yeah,
I've tried it too. I've tried it too.
And then you got to try to throw it up.
Yeah,
and I'm not good at throwing up, so that was the end of my journey that way.
Yeah, I don't.
I've tried that too, and I agree with you that obesity like benefits everyone, and I always say it benefits everyone except for the obese person because it benefits the therapy industry, the food industrial complex, the medical industry. Everyone makes money. I even say the plus size clothing industry benefits them.
That's what pays me. Thanks, guys.
And I don't know if that's like a great thing because
they pay me.
No. It's just that I don't know if it's a great thing that people are making money off of overweight people.
Here's the thing: is it making money off of overweight people, or is it giving overweight people an opportunity to wear clothes? Because they were putting us in muumuus before that. I don't know if you probably weren't around for this, but they were putting us in muumuus. I was trying to fit into jeans that were super, super stretchy, but were not my size. Now I can be cute as a button in clothes while still working on myself. And you know what? Nothing makes me feel better than looking really great in an outfit, being like, I want to continue to try to look great in outfits.
It's crazy. I had a completely different experience. Nothing made me feel worse than knowing that there were clothing out there for me and that I could gain so much more weight.
Self-hatred, baby girl.
No, it wasn't self-hatred.
That is self-hatred.
No.
It is, babe, because think about it. You didn't like yourself.
No, I didn't want to be overweight. It sucked. Right, it was unhealthy.
You didn't like that about yourself.
No, right? I didn't like how I felt.
Right, but that's self-hatred.
Because I was overweight.
Right, and that's self-hatred.
That's not self-hatred.
You feel good as you are now?
Yeah.
And you didn't then?
No.
That was self-hatred.
No, but it wasn't self-hatred. It was I created a problem for myself by overeating. Mm-hmm. I gained a lot of weight. I was really uncomfortable in my body. I felt sick every day. I couldn't go up the steps anymore. I couldn't even sleep through the night without having panic attacks because of my chest. I had anxiety, depression. I was suicidal. I didn't even leave my room. I didn't work out. I didn't want to do anything. And it was because of the weight. And it was also because I'd hated myself because I was overweight. Mm-hmm. When I lost the weight, so you did hate yourself. Went away.
It was self-hatred.
But it wasn't self-hatred. It was the fact that I felt terrible that made me hate the way I felt.
She looked in the mirror and she would say to me, Mom, this is not who I am. I don't recognize the person that I see in the mirror. This is not who I am. And I was like, hey, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And she'd be like, no. And I just didn't get it. I'm like, Penelope, like, we have to live life. Okay. And she'd be like, no, I'm not willing to go to school. She was even going to drop out of school. I'm not willing to go anywhere to the grocery store until I am a true reflection of who I really see myself to be.
So she began to love herself.
She began this journey and she's been unstoppable. But it was one day, like it was partially my, willingness to accept her and to come to some peace around the enabling and to also be a stand for her transformation, but in a different way, energetically, that she really stepped in and she was just like, this is happening. And it was like a sheer act of God. I mean, I was really desperate. And that's really when we created Step It Up. Mm. She had envisioned it already at age 11, take one step at a time, one day at a time, one bite at a time, one thought at a time, one feeling at a time, just one step at a time, because it's just too big of a mountain to climb when you've got 200 pounds to lose. So.
And but at the same time, it wasn't self-hatred. It was just that when I learned that there was plus size clothes out there for me in my body, I was like, oh, for me, it enabled me to gain more weight because it was like, oh, it's okay now.
That
Now
was
that
her
I
context,
know,
yeah.
now that I know that there's more clothes for me, I can keep gaining weight and that there's nothing really wrong with me. And it kind of gave me that sense again, oh, there's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
And when I lost the weight, I felt better. And I
Right.
was like, oh,
But just to clarify, that is what self-hatred is. And the reason why I can relate to it, because I went through the same thing in different parts of my body. So I would say probably get away from the feeling of the word, because you had self-hatred. You didn't like yourself as is. That's
Sure.
self-hatred.
sure.
So,
And you have to hate yourself enough to make a change, I believe.
or you love yourself enough to make the change.
Or either or. Some people.
But you also were loving you made a change from hatred to
Sure.
love, but you had to come to some kind of reconciliation
Yeah, and then I
in that gap of like, hey, this is not who I actually am, and I got to do something about it.
Yeah, and then I started learning about being overweight because everyone was lying to me, right? Like I had my therapist, doctors, everyone was lying.
You didn't want to hear what I had to say.
I didn't want to hear what she had to say because
hard to
she's
hear
a
it from
health she's a health guru too.
Well, it's hard to
right?
hear from your parents too. You got to hear it from somebody else usually.
So I started searching and I was reading. I was like reading things like BMI, for example. I know you don't believe in the BMI, but
not believe in. I just don't think that's across the board should be standard for everybody.
so I was reading the BMI and it said that when your BMI is over 40, you lose 7 years. And when it's over 50, you lose 14 years. And that scared me because my BMI was like 100 or something crazy like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I keep it up, I'm going to lose my life. Like I'm going to lose years of my life. And I'm curious what you think about that.
About that you can die if you're overweight?
Yeah, well, just the fact that being overweight creates less life on this earth.
Oh, I'm so cynical. I don't know if you want that answer from me, to be honest with you. Like, I hear you, but I'm also a person who doesn't believe that you're promised anything. So, like, yeah, for sure, work on it. But that's why I say so much it's important to love you in the now. Because, yeah, I mean, you can have this idea of what you'd want to be, walk outside. It was raining today, die on the freeway. Didn't make it. Now what? Now what was you didn't like yourself now. You wanted to be something else. You were hoping for these other things. You could have died in 14 years because you were not going to live to be 45, but now you didn't because, but you died. And so I'm so cynical when it comes to this. You're not promised today. So yeah, it sucks and it would suck, but also there's people dying right now in Iraq and in Gaza avoiding bombs. So yeah. But we're not promised today. You're going to die no matter what. And so if that was what you needed to make yourself be healthier, and hopefully you're working out now because that's really important as well.
I am every day.
I would say then if that's what you needed to do that, and if you're the type of person who needs negative reinforcement to do something, that's something you're knowing about your personality. That doesn't occur across the board for humans, just so you know that. But that's powerful that worked for you. And if that does work for you, I think that's wonderful.
I don't think you could avoid it because, my mom literally died and I got robbed. I feel like I got robbed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like who am I to judge, right? It's God. But she died and other family members died.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we're not promised today, but we can take steps towards preventing those things from happening. And it's true. I have friends who smoked their whole life. They died to something completely unrelated to smoking.
I mean, they blamed a lot of things on COVID for a while.
It's hard to say, but I do think that we should experience a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And we should do the right thing because I think that will be favored. I
Yes.
think that life will reward us, not everyone, but oftentimes I find life rewards me for doing the right thing.
Right.
And the right thing to me is living in alignment with nature's law. And that's not my greed, which is what feeds into obesity. That's not my shame and blame, which feeds into obesity. You know what I mean? That's not the, X, Y, and Z that causes that kind of stress on my heart and my joints and, the things like that and the breakdown of health.
Do you think someone who's like 800 pounds or 400 pounds should be positive about their body and sharing it online?
I mean, in what regards? I just saw someone who was about 800 pounds and they did share themselves, but they were sharing their weight loss journey.
But if they're not showing their weight loss journey and they're being body positive, just saying, I love myself, everything.
This is what I eat in a day.
This is what I eat in a day. How do you feel about that?
I feel happy that they're happy about themselves.
Even though they're showing thousands of young women that this is something that they're doing. And because, like you mentioned earlier, young women are maybe a little more naive. They don't know as much. Their brains aren't fully developed. So
not just women, just people in general, but yes.
People in general. And, they will probably be more prone to saying, oh, look, that person's doing that. Maybe it is okay if I eat, a few pizzas or, don't take care of my health as much because they're saying they're beautiful and they're healthy. So why could I do the same thing? What would you, how do you feel about that?
I find it interesting. I think we're not too far apart in age, but you talking about them being younger and having an idea, that just seems personally, it seems like that's your perception of it. Because I'm in the industry and I know a lot of different people straight and not straight size, and not everyone takes the videos how you're expressing that you took them.
No, I'm not saying they do, but I'm just saying, do you believe it's okay for media to be
So
out
because
like
I don't
that?
believe everyone takes them the same way that you take them, I think that it's okay to be online being who you are.
No matter what size you are, no matter how big or small.
No, actually, I think anybody over the weight of 300 should not be allowed on the internet, and anyone under the age under the weight of 90 should also not be on the. Only the people in between 90 and 300 pounds should be allowed on the internet and have an opinion or eat.
Wait, you're kidding, right?
I'm completely kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Ridiculous. That's
Kidding.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to tell someone they can or can't do something. If someone asks my opinion, I'll be happy to give them. It's going to come from a positive place. It's not going to come from a negative place. Hey, should I be this weight? What are you eating? Are you being healthy? Are you working out? Yes, I am. Okay, well, I would continue doing that, and I would really try to find love. And if you love yourself, take care of yourself, because you have a pair of shoes you love. You don't let them get dirty. Right? You're going to try to take care of them is what I'm saying is. And so I'm not going to encourage them to do things that are going to show that they don't love themselves, which might be eating fast food to the point of you can't move and not working out or not doing any kind of things. But that's not who I am. Yeah. So I wouldn't say that you should just do bad things. However, love yourself. Definitely love yourself. If you were 800 pounds and you were eating online, probably don't tell people to do that also, but please love yourself. Please love yourself, and thank you for loving yourself, because it is so hard to love yourself. So hard.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. It's a journey.
It is a journey, for sure. It is a journey.
Self-acceptance. And it wavers. I think it's on a spectrum, too.
I mean, everything's on a spectrum. Oh, gosh.
No, but it's true. Like
it is. I was just talking to someone about how autism is a spectrum, and they were like, what? And I was just like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm passionate about that.
About autism.
In general, yeah.
Do you have an autistic relative?
Not that I necessarily do. I'm just not sure if I'm not, and it goes undiagnosed for many people, and mostly women. Mm-hmm. And so there's always a level of it. Apparently, when you do that happy dance before you eat, that's called stimming, and that's a self-stimulation that is a sign of autism as well.
Really?
And I dance before I eat because I get excited.
I know, right? A lot of us do. Yeah. I have a dance.
But it's a spectrum. That's why I said I'm laughing about the word spectrum, because like you can be literally just that's all you have. But then you're still on.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, but my self-acceptance has been a journey. And Penelope used to get upset because I was like hard on myself. And she'd be like, Mom, shut up.
Because it's really hard. So that's the number one thing. Kids watch their parents and how they accept themselves and how they love themselves. I learned to love myself through what my grandma taught and talked to about herself. She didn't like her wrinkles. She didn't like this and that. So then what does that put in my mind? What can I not like about myself? Because how I see you love yourself. I want to make sure that when I have a daughter, no matter what my size is, that I learn to love myself, and I encourage her to make healthy options. And I don't care what this psychiatrist tells me, she can't work out. We're athletes over here. We're going to dance. You're going to take your little chubby ass to go put in those tights and go do dance class and get strong. Like I wish that was the one thing my parents and people around me had told me. Like, instead of you're fat, lose weight, I wish they had told me, get stronger. Yeah. You want to do this? You want to do doubles? Get stronger. Yeah. That would have been such a more powerful message for me. Yeah. That would have been.
I mean, we try, right? Us parents.
You can't never, I don't have any kids, but like people, we try. We're never the villains in our own story. And so it's not like we're trying to but we project and we place things how we feel on others. And that can really bring them down.
For sure.
Yeah, this is kind of a random question, but I'm not sure if it was you that was talking about this. I might have seen, but I've seen a lot of talk about this, and I'm very curious.
Oh gosh, here we go.
So there's a lot of talk lately about Southwest customer size policies and having bigger seats on planes, making bigger doorways, and things like that. So I'm very curious about your thoughts on that.
I mean, to be fair, the planes had bigger seats back in the day when we used to dress up and be nice for planes instead of wearing pajamas to the airport. You know what I mean? And there also was food served on the plane, and they were really, really lovely to you. And you got like a food. Like, I'm not that old, but I've been traveling since I was like a baby because my grandparents are old people who like to travel. And so, yeah, I had a little traveling outfit. We had to go get a plane fit. Okay. So that being said, they used to be bigger. We made them smaller to make more money. So it'd be kind of cool if we just went back. But that being said, I mean, you're a business. I'm not going to make a wider door for you to get in. If you can't come in, then you have to figure that out. I'm a business. And so do I think that we need to make the big seats bigger for plus size people? No. However, I mean, they can buy 2 seats, put the seat up, but they could return the seats back to what they were. I mean, we've got no leg room as is. You probably barely fit in there, 5'9". Like, you know what I mean? Like, they've taken a lot away. So to just complain about this would be.
Southwest gives a free seat to people who are overweight.
But
everyone else on the plane has to pay, even kids with moms.
I think that's dope. You guys fly Southwest. That's dope. That's awesome.
Really? You think that's great?
Here's the thing. I'm a person for rooting for the underdog. And so, I mean, people don't like fat people. They hate fat people. People can't stand fat people.
I don't hate fat people.
I love fat people.
I don't hate fat people. I love fat people so much. In fact, I want to help them
but
so
you
much.
said you think fat shaming is okay. And you can't love someone and want to shame them.
Listen, I think fat shaming is appropriate, and I think it's about how the person who receives the fat shaming takes it, because fat shaming isn't actually fat shaming, it's just being honest. It's how the person perceives it. So I could say, hey, I think you need to lose weight and I really care about you, or hey, you really need to like wear something that doesn't look like that, or I could say, hey, you really need to eat healthier food because that's gonna kill you. That could be seen as fat shaming.
So one of the first one you said was a fat shame, but that's also an opinion. Fat shaming usually comes from an opinion, not from a fact. When I get fat shamed online, they're like, "Oh, is that can the aisle hold you?" Because I'm doing runway. You know, is it gonna break?
I would never say that.
But that's what fat shaming is.
But that's also how you perceive it. They could be saying that, and you could be saying, "Oh, they're fat shaming me," or you could perceive it as.
No, he went on several pages. He was fat shaming for sure.
I just think it's
I was
perception.
positive with him. I was positive. I was like, you know what? That's how we do the rehearsal. And he said, you know what? You've been positive about all the negative things I've been saying to you. I know I've been trolling you. I want to say, do your thing, beautiful. And so I can also tell you this: a lot of people that do fat shame and do troll, y'all don't really mean what you say. Don't be on here talking that crap either, because they don't really mean. They can sit there and talk crap, but they want your attention. The most people that talk crap on my page, they don't know me.
If everyone in the world,
They don't know
not
me.
you in general, but just people, like
People, a random person, Bob Knob, who's got a horse picture on his Instagram, does not care whether I live or die.
No, but the grandma who said you should eat less does care.
It's not, grandma's not on Instagram. You should eat
but
less.
I'm saying in person, when you go to family events and the family, you have the grandpa and the grandma being like, oh, you should eat a little less.
I disagree,
sweetie.
because they were telling me that the entire time. Meanwhile, I was out exercising each one of them. Who are you to tell me I need to lose weight?
But it's not. It's like we can perceive it as that, or I can.
Opinion. That's what I'm saying. Fat shaming is opinion. You're telling me that the grandma, who by the way doesn't work out, is telling me that her daughter, who's now a competitive figure skater, I got 24 gold medals.
Wow!
I went to nationals. Okay,
That's
I placed
amazing.
12th in nationals.
Woo!
At 112 pounds.
That's
okay,
great.
which is about 10 pounds away from where I'm at right now. So I don't want to hear from grandma in the gym. When I go to the gym and I work out, I'm doing my stretches. I was a dancer. I was a minor in dance. Doing my stretches like this in the gym. The old lady, you really shouldn't do that so fast with your neck. That's your opinion. That is your opinion, because you can't do that with your neck. You have no idea my athletic ability. So to tell me, or my health ability, or anything, so to tell me your fat shame opinion about what you think that I should do, null and void. Don't give up, respectfully, because you're not me. If you knew what I was going through, if you were my grandmother or my mother and you knew and we were at the doctor's, then that's one thing. That's one thing. And then hopefully it's delivered in a way that's coming from love, which is, we're all learning to show more of that.
But I think grandmas show love differently, right? Because they were raised differently. And I still think it's perception, because you're saying fat shaming is an opinion. It's also the way you take the opinion, right? Because you can take an opinion well or bad.
Do you see what I'm saying? You're starting
but
off.
You said fat shaming is an opinion, so I'm just going off what you said.
Right, but you're starting off. So I'm walking down and I'm living my life down my street. Random guy, you wore shorts today? Which is, by the way, happened to me. You wore shorts? That's fat shaming. He thinks I shouldn't be wearing shorts. Meanwhile, I just left the gym and I'm headed to go get a salad. But now he's fat shaming me. So now I don't even want to eat. So what do? I go get something that seems fast and easy. Maybe that's fried chicken. And now I'm feeling sick and now I feel like crap. Now I don't go to the gym the next day because I have shorts. And that's what I have to wear to the gym. But I know that Billy over here is going to tell me, ew, you're wearing shorts. Now I don't want to show up.
But that's reality. That's actually what happens.
That is what happens.
Yeah.
And that's why fat shaming is not something that's conducive to us actually getting better as a society.
It's also perception. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm not saying it should or that it's a good thing, but it's also perception. Like in school, I was bullied a lot. a lot of people bullied me and they told me I was fat and ugly. And I'm so glad kids are honest, right? Because kids will literally go up to you and be like,
true. And that's
"You're fat." And I was fat. I was 320 pounds. I was sick and I couldn't go up the steps. I could not breathe.
You were fat and unhealthy.
I was fat and unhealthy, and fat people are unhealthy. Statistically,
Not all fat people are
all
unhealthy.
fat people are unhealthy. It's not good for the joints. It's not good for the heart. It's not good for your body.
Okay.
No matter how overweight you are, like you cannot deny the studies.
So the Samoans that are considered to your BMI to be overweight, you're telling me that they're all unhealthy.
If they're overweight, they are unhealthy. Their adipose tissue is a real thing.
I agree. I feel like there truly is differences to people, and I think that that's a beautiful thing. I'm not taking away from you being 300 pounds and being bullied or whatever, but I think that the differences in bodies and shapes is a beautiful thing. I don't think we're all supposed to be a certain weight or a small, a certain size. I think that, again, attempting and trying your best to make healthy choices as far as what you eat and as far as your activities in a day are what you should be trying to reach for, rather than a certain look or a certain opinion of somebody else.
Of course.
And
I totally, I don't think you're saying that everyone should be a specific size. It's just like, what is your potentiality?
And I don't think people should be overweight because I do think that's unhealthy. And also something you said earlier, like people should be remembered for when they die for being happy. And I remember talking to our friend Arcel, and he was saying that he's overweight himself. He lost 7 friends in COVID, and they were all obese.
Yeah, they died.
And I think that's really sad. And he said something really touching. He said, if only they were trying to make a difference for their health, could they have died? And their families would have known at least they tried, and they would have died knowing that at least they tried to make an impact on their lives so that they could live longer, to be around longer. I know you're a skeptist or whatever, but I just feel like he has a great point when he says that, because I would rather have known that your mom was trying to save her life from obesity and trying to heal herself rather than just dying of obesity. Like, it would have been good for me as your daughter, as her, granddaughter, and you as her mother, to know, like, hey, my mom died of obesity, but at least she tried. But knowing she died of obesity, unhappy, unfulfilled, not happy about herself or her health for that matter, struggling, we never get to see that side because she just died.
Well, I mean, she tried so hard.
So she tried because she's telling you that.
She did try, but she could have
She had
done more.
upswings and
She could have
downswings.
done more.
And I think that's why we are against diet culture, because I think it actually does cause the, inability to lose weight over time.
Yes, it does.
And I've seen that myself. I saw that in you. I saw it in her. And that's why it's just consistency, which is such a naughty word for us.
I would just challenge some of the things that, or maybe just have I would encourage you to kind of think back on how you're talking and what you're saying, because a lot of what you say comes from a very, I don't mean it's a negative way. This word sounds negative, but in a very selfish way. Instead of you wondering how she felt when she died, I would have felt better had I known she was trying better to live longer. I would have felt better knowing a lot of what you say and the way you view things, which is completely normal because we're humans, is from your perspective of things. You're not thinking outside of the box or outside of what you can conceptually understand. You're only understanding when you talk, you're only speaking from what you understand, what your experience is, and not the fact that maybe that person, regardless of how you feel, was going and feeling some other thing.
Well, what's crazy is not enough people speak about my perspective. They always talk about being overweight's healthy, fat shaming is bad, don't tell people the truth.
You don't think that we talk about people being overweight enough?
No, because if you did, I wouldn't have seen all that body positive
that right
content.
there is going to be a perfect example of algorithm.
It's not just
It's not, algorithm doesn't show me the same things you showed me.
Algorithm shows health and fitness to people too. It's also
the algorithm tells you exactly what you want to see at the time you want to see it, and it's literally for you. The AI gives you exactly what it knows you want.
wasn't really as popular too.
Just so you know, what time is it right now?
It's 5:20.
5:20. So in about 2 hours, my algorithm is about to show me some top ramen, some people eating noodles, because it knows that I love watching them slurp the noodles at this time. In the morning, it shows me people dancing because it knows I'm going to watch dancing. The algorithm has you down pat. So I really need you to really, this is, again, something I'm going to point out to you, is you're really looking at it from your perspective, and
but
you're not
have to in order to reach
totally fine, but
people.
that's not the next person who went through your even same thing is not getting the same algorithm you're getting to be encouraged to do these things.
It's not even that though. Like when I was talking about fat shaming, like in school, it helped me realize I had a problem because for a long time I didn't know I had a problem. And so the kids in school telling me, you're overweight, you're fat, you're ugly. It was like, oh my gosh, you're telling me the truth. You're right. I am fat. I am ugly.
Well, so I'd like to shift to confidence. Like, what does confidence mean, and how does it get built? Because there's like this double-edged sword that I feel like we're toggling between. It's like on the one side, like the blame and shame are disempowering and lead to destruction.
In my experience, empowering, and for many others, empowering as well. People say they're glad they were fat shamed in school and they were glad they were bullied because it showed them they had a problem. So I'm not the only one saying this is.
But how did you build your confidence?
Came from. I used to feel that way too. I used to think that I shouldn't wear shorts, that I didn't have a nice body. Why is she wearing that? I used to do the same thing, fat shame myself and other people.
Yeah, but you build confidence by setting goals.
From hating myself, I learned to love myself. Now I don't, and that's why I know is because I'm coming from a place who was you to who I am now, and not with the late weight loss, with the mental understanding of what it is. That's where I'm coming from, and that's what I'm talking about. Because I'm not saying that I don't understand you, because for sure I was you. I'd be like, why is this girl wearing this? She should not be wearing this. Why are they this? And I'm literally at the same time not wearing shorts because I don't want my legs. I didn't wear short sleeves, tank tops until I got to college. When I told myself when I get to college, I'm not gonna let anyone make me feel badly about my arms or my body. I'm just gonna decide that I'm gonna like it, and people are not gonna know my insecurities. I decided this, okay? Me deciding this allowed the outside world also to be on the same page because people see things how you see things, right? So I did see things the way you saw them, and in my mind I thought that was making it better. Then when I got a shift, my biggest shift was dating a man who liked chubby women. He liked me as is. He tried to touch my stomach. I'd be like, oh, don't touch me, because I would feel that's fat and disgusting. Like, this is fat, disgusting, gross. Why would you touch it? That being said, if you touch my arm, you don't think twice about touching my arm. Same thing with when he touches my stomach. He's not thinking, oh, this is a disgusting additive of my girlfriend. This is part of her body, and I love her, and he'd fight with me. Let me touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Eventually, I got to a point where I was like, it literally laying there one day when he was rubbing me, and I was feeling disgusting. I was like, this is gross. I'm gross. I just laid there, and he was just kissing me, and I was like, he doesn't see things how I see things. He doesn't see my body how I see my body. He's not disgusted by me in the way that I've been taught by outside people telling me that I'm disgusting. So why do I need to prescribe to me being disgusting too? Why can't I have a same mind frame that actually I'm good looking? That doesn't mean that I'm going to not be an athlete because I've always been an athlete. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try to eat better because that is important to me. But I'm not going to sit there and live where these other negative idealisms were that you're fat, you're disgusting, you've got a belly, you'd be prettier if you were not black, you'd be prettier if you were not fat, you'd be prettier if your hair was like this, I don't like your hair curly, I like your hair straight. I had to get to a point where there are two ways to think of things, which is what I'm challenging you for.
More than two.
There's more than two, but if you look at good and bad, you're disgusting and you're beautiful. I had the choice, and I felt like I was disgusting until all of a sudden I met someone and he showed me that actually you can think yourself is beautiful. Then I was like, wow, that's when my plus modeling started. Then I'm going to runway shows and girls. I'm thunder thighs in 7th grade, by the way. Guy was like, your legs are so fat, you could make money off KFC. Great. Get to doing modeling. I'm with girls who, are larger than me. And that doesn't mean I want to be like them. But then being like, wow, you're beautiful. You've got beautiful legs. I have beautiful legs. Why? Because I'm an ice skater. They're athletic. But compared to them, they were feeling like this. That was something like I never even thought that I had. But because I was recognizing the other people now, instead of them telling me the negative things that you're saying, which they did my entire life, now I'm getting this positive reinforcement. You're beautiful. Now you've got nice legs. What am I going to try to do to keep my nice legs? Work out.
Do you think plus size models are brainwashed?
No. What does that mean? There's so many different people in the world.
Well, they think they're beautiful.
You're encompassing an entire industry. I don't think that that's fair to do.
So why are you a plus size model?
Because I'm fat and I'm cute.
And do you think it's positive for the world to have plus size models?
I feel like I'm doing a very positive thing in this world because I allow clothes that are going to fit your now body, even if your intention is to be thinner. I allow clothes that are to fit your now body. And so you can love yourself now that you'll want to maybe be a better tomorrow.
That's an interesting perspective. Do you think everyone in plus size modeling has that view as well?
I don't think anybody ever has the same anything. I'm very much on the opposite side of, and that's why I would implore you to think outside, because I spend a lot of time thinking of everyone else thinks completely different than me. I run into a lot with that. And
I used to think like you. For a moment in my life, I thought that being overweight was beautiful.
Because we weren't the same.
Well, I thought a lot. I thought
Because
similarly
I
to
would
you.
never have gone down to 7-Eleven and been hoarding on these things. We did not think the same.
No, but we had some similar beliefs. Like we loved ourselves.
No.
At one point, I loved myself. There was a point where I thought I was beautiful. I was gorgeous. Go girl. I was taking selfies.
If you actually truly did, you would have done things to take care of yourself. And what you're sharing with me is that you did not.
But
and
there
so
was a moment where I did feel beautiful, and I did think everything was fine, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with my eating. I didn't think there's anything wrong with
that
my
doesn't
beauty.
make that a fact. So that's what I'm saying is.
But you think you're beautiful. You feel like you're beautiful. You've always thought you were beautiful.
No,
No matter
I've
what.
not always thought I was beautiful.
Okay, so right now, do you feel beautiful?
Right now, I feel like I am beautiful.
Right, and so when I was overweight, I also felt that I was beautiful for a moment in time. So in that way, we had
I
that.
get confused where you say that you thought you were beautiful and then you hated.
Yeah, because I had some weeks where I thought I was beautiful and great, and then I had the weeks where I was like, wow, this is gross. That was the flip-flop. There was a flip-flop there, especially because I was going in and out of sugar, yo-yo dieting, gaining the weight, losing the weight. So there was a lot of confusion in the weight loss that I was gaining and losing week by week, where I was like, oh, I'm beautiful and I'm 320 pounds, and oh, I'm ugly and I'm ugly at 320 pounds and I feel sick. So there was a lot of push and pull with my mindset.
Which I think all of us have on our weight loss path.
Exactly.
And our body image path, whether you're fat or thin or you're anywhere in between.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I wanted to go back to confidence, because I feel like I build confidence, you build confidence, everyone I've ever worked with builds confidence by actually following through on a commitment that they make to themselves.
Yeah, to anything, for sure.
So, like, whether that's, the next meal, the next bite, the next choice, the next day, one workout at a time, that's really what builds the confidence over time. And to me, that's real body positivity, because that confidence is the foundation of it is like, I followed through and I took care of myself. I did something genuinely positive for myself that builds me up, that makes me strong in my emotions, in my mind, and also in my body. But I just think there's a huge misperception of what health means, what healthy eating means, and what health means.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean, like skinny. Like I've tried that. Like
I don't think it's a body type. I think it's really like, what is your blood work saying? How are you maneuvering?
I agree with that.
Pick something off the ground. Can you climb the stairs?
I agree with that. Yeah.
If the zombies come, can you get away? That's how I work out. I work out like if the zombies are coming. That's what, during COVID, the entire time I was like, okay, if this happens, like I got a good 2.5 miles at 4.5. If the zombies are broken legged and they, I can get away. Like that's, to be honest with you, I feel like we should all be able to, health-wise, we should all be able to at least get away from
Like
the
a
zombies.
survival thing.
And that's a great point. And the 800-pound bedridden, people can't do that.
Listen, but while they're eating him, guess what? Me and you are out.
But that's
Like, that's what it is.
But you know what? It's like I feel like
I don't need to change everybody. Survival of the fittest. We, at the end of the day, when we were evolved and we were on the one continent, and there was Neanderthals and other kind of thals and different kinds of upright humans, and then the bigger ones extinct the smaller ones. We're in an evolution process. Okay, so. Do I think that he's healthiest? No. Do I think he's probably going to live a long time? I don't know. But do I think he should hate himself? Absolutely not. Because no matter what, we're not promised tomorrow.
Do you think that the 800-pound person should get healthy?
Do I think the 800 person should get healthy? What does it benefit to me to care?
Because your tax dollars are paying for obese people's health
My
care.
tax dollars pay for wars I don't want. My tax dollars pay for cops that pull over people for no reason.
Lancet in 2017 said it was $2.3 trillion. It was like
but we signed away when we decided not to be sovereign citizens. We signed our right to determine where our tax dollars go, anyways. So for me, that's not an argument that I care. I don't care about that.
Well, they also feed into the food industry that you complain about.
For sure, they also feed into healthcare, and they also feed into food stamps. And schools that actually don't take anybody on field trips or take them to other countries. So
you just don't care. You're just
it's not about not caring. It's about what I can control and what I can't control.
I almost feel like that's not caring, because you're basically saying you can live your life and I actually don't care what you do. And for me, from where I'm coming from, it's like I care so much. I want to help you learn how to lose the weight without dieting, because that's what I've done for myself. That's what you've helped thousands of women do. That's what we've helped women do together.
Yeah, it's not that. I don't think I need to force anybody to do something they don't want to do. So if someone was to come to me and be like, hey, Misty, I'm on a spiritual journey. What's your idea about Christ and the world, and what is your idea? Happily to tell them. Now, I'm not going to be the person on the side of the street. You need to believe in Jesus. He will save you. You need to. And so for me, that's how it appears to me when you talk about what you're talking about. It seems like you're the person on the side of the road that won't just let people do what they want to do. You know what I mean? You would have forced it to them instead of allowing people to come to them. However, if you were to take away maybe some of the shame out of it and be like, hey, listen, this is what happened for me. I love myself now. I wasn't loving myself so much then. If you're in that place, why don't we go on this journey together? Instead of, you shouldn't wear that. Why are you getting unhealthy? Get it together.
I don't necessarily say that, but I'm not going to lie about the things that I've been through, because there are thousands of girls online and in the world who have suffered from the things that I've suffered from. Mm-hmm. And there are girls who have even came to me like, I've had really similar experiences to you. Like, this is really true. I really resonate with this. And yeah, I talked about how they fat shamed me and it made me feel better. They said the same thing. Those girls were like, yeah, when people fat shame me, it actually helped me understand the truth. And so you're saying like, oh, it's a me perspective, and like I should maybe be less than who I am, or maybe I should not be so honest, or maybe not fat shame, because some of the things maybe I'm saying are fat shaming. But in my opinion, it's like it's me telling my truth, and my truth is helping other people, and that's really what matters at the end of the day.
I feel like the more experiences you have, the more you'll be able to have a different view of it, because you're coming from a place where you're saying that worked without coming from a place of recognizing that there might have been something else that could have worked even better.
I'm sure there are other ways that have worked, but I've also tried countless diets and countless
I'm not talking
weight loss
about
programs.
diets. I'm talking about your perception of yourself and how you talk.
Well, I've tried those perceptions as well.
Well, I mean, okay, so you're saying, so the women that you're talking about that you're like, okay, they want to lose weight and whatever. You're saying, oh, the fat shaming, it worked for them, and they're saying it worked. Why not give it a chance to just not shame them and try the positive aspect and see if that doesn't also get them there?
No, we do love the people that we work with. We are loving to them. We're not fat shaming them. I'm just saying that fat shaming is a matter of perception, and it's not what the people say. It's how the people who hear it perceive it.
I'm sorry, but you're delivering it and you're giving an unwarranted opinion. So I don't understand.
People give unwarranted opinions all the time about everything from work,
but nobody wants them. Do you see what I'm saying? Nobody likes that. No one likes the person who's like, you should make a left here. You're not driving.
No one likes it when a heroin addict is doing heroin and someone and a family member says, hey, why are you doing that? But if food addiction is the same thing.
I don't understand. You lost me as far as I'm talking about when you're going out of your way to make someone feel badly about themselves.
I don't go out of my way to make someone feel bad.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying the royal you. Fat shaming is going out of your way to make someone else feel badly about themselves.
It's good that people are honest, because if everyone was quiet about...
What I said, though, going out of your way to make someone else feel badly about themselves. How do you feel about that statement?
I feel like it's a perception. People perceive how people tell people things. So I could tell you your dress looks pretty, and someone will be like, "Oh, you're fat shaming me. You offended." People will say that.
We're not talking about random obscure situations that you may be able to confuse.
Fat shaming is a random obscure situation.
It's not. The examples you've given before were very direct.
There are thousands of people in the world.
So when it's negative. I can be like, oh, you're ugly. Obviously, that's not a compliment. And I can't be like, let me just finish real quick. I can't just be like, oh, you're ugly. And you being like, that hurts my feelings. And you'd be like, oh, well, that's the way you perceived it. You're not taking any responsibility for delivering a negative comment.
But it's okay to deliver negative comments. Sometimes people need critical...
We can agree to disagree in that. I prefer to lead with positivity. And if negativity works for you to lead with, I suggest continue to do that and don't let anyone stop you.
I say lead with honesty and love. And if honesty hurts someone's opinions,
there's no way everyone can lead with love if you're shaming somebody. Those are two polar opposites of themselves.
So would you say me telling my friend, hey, you need to lose some weight, is shaming them?
I don't think the way that you said that is shaming, no.
So if I said, hey, I think you shouldn't eat that, is that fat shaming them?
I don't think your opinion about what to eat needs to be spoken about.
But is it fat shaming to you?
I think that a better way to go about it would be if you were truly worried about it and your friend came to you and was like, hey, listen, I'm feeling like I'm gaining weight. Can you go on this journey with me and kind of help me out? That should be the only reason why you should open your mouth and speak about anyone what they eat, respectfully. But if they do that, then yeah, it would be kind to be like, hey, remember when you told me you were going to talk about, you were watching it? What if we had a salad? You down for a salad? Yeah. Like, there's ways to deliver things.
But what if they're in denial and they're really, really overweight?
If they're in denial and they're not asking you for help,
I have to let them die.
I'm not saying you have to let them die, but you're
saying don't say anything.
I'm not saying don't say anything. I'm saying if you guys are eating and you haven't brought it up before when you're not eating, you probably should keep your opinion to yourself, because that's rude and unnecessary.
Even when they're not eating.
If you're sitting there watching a movie and you're bringing, hey, I noticed you kind of been gaining weight. Have you been feeling okay? No, actually, I've been feeling this way. Actually, no, I feel great. Okay, great. Hey, I was thinking about joining a football. You want to join it with me? Great, let's go do that.
So if they say they feel great,
Did you hear what I said after?
then do football.
I'm encouraging them, and I'm being active as a friend and saying, hey, listen, there are things that we can do to where if you're feeling great and I'm noticing maybe it is a me thing, maybe you're pregnant and I don't know that. That's why you should definitely keep your opinion to yourself, because you don't know what that person's going through. And unless you do, unless they're asking you for help, you're being very naive to assume that they want to hear your opinion.
Okay. Interesting. You have some very interesting perspectives.
I'm a weird girl.
No, I don't think you're weird at
I
all.
think you're weird.
I think there's a way to deliver the truth, that's loving.
I agree.
And I also think that people's perceptions, it takes in a lot.
Well, I just don't think that shame is ever going to get anyone anywhere. It's like literally
My
on
ex-boyfriend thought it did.
on the map of consciousness by Hawkins. It's literally the lowest vibrational frequency.
Yes. I'm very about raising vibrations and being high vibrational.
And love and gratitude are at the top.
Yes.
And
Grateful for what you have now allows you to be a better tomorrow. Which is what I try to push.
Yeah, and loving yourself to death, I'm just not for that.
I don't think that the people who are 400 or 500, 600 pounds, or I don't think
themselves.
You would be surprised because NAFA.org has those calls. You know NAFA?
That sounds
National
familiar.
Association.
National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance.
Okay.
They have calls with these morbidly obese people who take their grabbers out and they eat junk food on the call, and I'm like appalled by this because
My
I'm
600-pound life or whatever it is.
yeah, but this is actually a nonprofit organization that promotes obesity literally because they're talking about how challenging it is to be obese, and they're all like talking about it kind of like, what would you call that? Like feeding off of each other, literally. And they're also feeding themselves on the call, and they're all really overweight. And I'm like, it makes me sad because I know they're going to die. They look like they're going to die. They have bags under their eyes. They're bedridden. And to me, for me to sit there and not say anything, not do anything, and to just be okay with it is like,
I mean, but there's also people that in our countries, and I'm going really far off, but like you also probably eat dogs. Like and this is very, and there's people that they'll do things and it might kill them. Here's the thing, like, yes, but it's not your responsibility to do anything more than to make sure you're the most positive person you can be. Then that will shine out and will still affect people, rather than thinking that you need to bombard into someone else's situation and tell them what you think is best. People don't receive that well. That puts people on the defensive. If you actually do want to get to them and you actually claiming you do care, then I would say you would need to look at the approach so you can actually get to where you're saying you want to get, which is to help people.
well, it'll be hard to do that because on the call you can't even talk about weight loss. You can't
Maybe
even talk
that's
about
not the place you start.
any diet.
Maybe
or
that's
anything.
not the place you start.
Well,
Maybe
then
you
I
start.
have to start with taking the company down because
I would
that nonprofit organization makes hundreds and thousands of dollars a year.
But you're completely neglecting the fact that where are they getting the source from? Why don't, if you're going to take something down, take down the healthcare system. Take down the people that say that McDonald's should even be sold at all.
Well, those fat people are going to die if they don't get helped ASAP.
Skinny people are also going to die if they don't get helped ASAP for other different reasons. The point is that I feel like you're you seem like you are passionate about this, which is beautiful. Direct your passion to where the source is coming from, because if you go to other countries, if you live abroad, you'll notice that they're not given the same options we're given. And like your mother said, it's very difficult for us to find healthy and good food out here, things that are not messed with. So if you're going to be very passionate,
We have a program where we teach women how to lose
I
weight
would
without
say,
dieting.
why don't we challenge Congress and challenge the health department?
Because how am I going to help people lose weight while I'm at the Congress?
I'm literally about to get there. Challenge them and talk to them and expose them to what they're feeding us, about the money that they're making off the bodies that are sick.
Yeah, and the organization NAFA makes money off of those bodies. They have affiliate links on their page for tools that people can use.
So you want to attack a place that is a positive outreach for.
It's not positive to have fat people eating
Let me just
junk
finish
food.
this thought. You want to attack a place that is offering a positive, safe space for these fat people who are overweight and probably are going to die, but you want to attack that place instead of attacking what actually is the problem, which is the people that were providing the food. For me, that sounds very backwards.
You know, attacking that is going to be a much harder task than attacking.
They're both going to be difficult, baby.
No, not when you have stats, statistics, and studies and facts.
There's stats and
to go
statistics
back
for
up.
both sides. I mean, if you take they just on TikTok all the time, they takes a sliver of meat and he puts it under the microscope and you see what's crawling in there. Like, regular food. So I just feel like if you're going to attack something and you're assuming one's bigger than the other, I would say use your passion and go bigger. Don't just attack that. Go to where the root is, to where it's not just people who are fat who look like they're being unhealthy, but actually attack the source that is actually attacking skinny people too. Because if you're looking at fast food and things of these healthy, unhealthy food options, these things are killing skinny people too without being obese.
Right.
Wouldn't you say that eating French fries is unhealthy?
I would say eating McDonald's French fries is very unhealthy.
Right, and that's what the lady was doing on the call, and a bunch of other people on that phone call. And it's
Okay.
that fact they have those
If
phone
they
calls
couldn't
every
get to
month.
McDonald's, if that wasn't so cheap, if it wasn't so easy. When I went to Trinidad, they don't.
bag
When
of
I went
carrots
to
is
baby girl,
organic
when I went to
carrots.
Trinidad, they didn't just have they don't have McDonald's out like that. So you don't see people just having the access to this bullshit food.
But do you know how much a bag of organic carrots is?
$3.69.
And a large fry is about the same price.
Sure, I don't eat French fries.
Right, but I'm
not like
I'm
that.
just saying, like, those are two correlations, and you can easily find a bag of organic carrots at any local grocery
You're not
store.
addicted and pushed in the face the golden arches every place you look. Do you understand? I mean, there's commercials that are literally, even if you're not watching it, they're in your brain with different
Totally.
So
Totally.
carrots don't have that. So the argument still goes back to if you want to attack something, go to the place that actually is funding and giving the food.
Or we could teach the people how to get unaddicted to sugar and flour.
And teach them about what
Absolutely,
healthy
but
means.
You cannot teach somebody who doesn't want to learn. But you
I
can't
agree,
attack someone
100%.
who has proof that they're doing something bad.
But if the company is helping them stay where they are because it's making them
You're
money.
choosing one company to be mad at.
It's not just one company, it's a bunch. But this
Right.
is just an example I wanted to give
But
you.
I'm saying, I think that your passion is really beautiful. And I think that it would benefit us as a whole if you directed your efforts to where the source is instead of the people trying to scoop up and help at the back end.
Well, I really want to help the people who are going to die
Like,
of
for
obesity.
instance, if it was another way, you'd be attacking Red Cross instead of the people giving the bombs. You need to look at the people throwing the bombs, not the people trying to help at the back end. Because I'm not going to say that it's right I'm not saying that they're good or bad. I'm not prescribing to them saying, I'm not saying that's good at all. But your passion and your influence should really be placed at the right source.
Is that
And
helping people not die from obesity like my grandmother?
Great. And how much more informative would it be to make a commercial showing what was actually in the food versus it trying to attack a company that now these people are already addicted to this other stuff. But okay, so since you can't get any help and since you are addicted, much like a meth addict, much like whatever, since you are addicted, we're going to give you a place to where at least you can feel okay because nothing else is going right. You want to take care of that instead of coming to this. You need to go to the source.
We are at the source. We created a weight loss program, a lifestyle program, and we're teaching people how to eat healthy, how to get rid of the sugar
I
and
think the
flour
source
addiction.
is where the food comes from.
Sure, but this program is specifically to help people lose the
that's
weight
great.
once and for all so that they don't die of obesity. And I care so much and I care forever and I will. And I'm passionate about it because I've lost a family member now to obesity.
Yeah.
And if I see an obese person, I have this drive to want to help them because I was once obese myself.
Yeah, girl.
And that pivotal emotion that takes you from shame, and there's anger and fear. But like what the pivotal thing that takes you from the lower vibrational states to the higher vibrational states is courage to help advocate for the righteousness in the food companies and in the school system and in the hospitals and so on and so forth, which is a pretty big hill to climb.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be fortunate enough
You just
one day to have
people be
the
able to listen to you though, and if it's coming
Agreed.
from a place of negativity, like instantly going to be shut off. So if you're going to be so passionate,
Did
if you're
you
gonna love
know?
these
I mean,
people-
unfortunately,
Statistically speaking,
people respond more to negativity.
They actually
I
do.
was surprised, and actually,
ads,
it's really unfortunate.
advertisements, social media content, negativity responds way higher than
negativity
any
as
other
far
type
as
of content.
relating to the negative. So you'll get two people who agree on relating to two negative things, but not as far as enforcement. They've done studies and they've got statistics as
That's
well
true.
that show you that if you're going to enforce something, positive enforcement gets further
that's what we do in our
than
program.
negative
That's
That's
enforcement.
exactly what we do in our
100%.
program.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Which
is
totally
great.
what we do.
Which is great.
We know.
But I guess for me, it's like I want to help those people. That's what I'm inspired to do. And eventually, one day, I'd love to go bigger and go into those food industries and expose the fact that they're putting sugar in every single ingredient. And that's why everyone's so addicted to them because they're just adding sugar, and they only care about their bottom line. You're totally right about that, and I love that. But that is not going to help me help obese people right now. The only way I can help obese people right now is to show them, hey, you go to your grocery store, instead of buying a bag of Lay's chips, buy a bag of carrots. Instead of buying this, processed food bar. Learn how to make your own. And that's what I'm passionate about doing. And that's what me and my mom are doing.
I think that that's really good. I think where we're getting difference is that what I'm hearing is you're going to, when you say fat shame and you're going to allow your opinion to come out into people who are unsuspecting or unwanting, you're going to lose more than get. You know what I'm saying? So be passionate about that for sure. And if you guys have this program, that sounds really exciting, especially if it's positive. But you don't want to lose some of those people that you could so graciously help, because most overweight people are going to agree with you. They don't want to be overweight. They don't like themselves as is. They want to change.
They're struggling. Yeah.
But and yet they're sitting there probably watching this, eating, Rolos right now. So it's
hopefully they throw them away after if they realize they're going to cause them cancer.
Hopefully they do. But this is the way to get to them, not in the store to their face, you shouldn't be wearing this. Not,
and I don't.
She doesn't do that.
I don't do that. But that's why.
That's what fat shaming is. And no, I do not agree that you should do it.
Yeah.
And that's also why we're having this conversation right now, because I want people to be able to hear your perspective, my perspective, your perspective, and learn from this conversation.
Yeah.
And actually seek to understand themselves and others. Because even though I think being obese and overweight is not a positive thing for your health, I have a level of compassion and empathy for overweight people, unlike a skinny person would. So when a skinny person would sit here and talk, they would have no authority to even speak on the matter. But because I've experienced being overweight before, I actually know how these people feel. And it gives me the space and freedom to speak openly about it and actually shed some light on what it feels like to be obese, because it's not fun to be overweight. It doesn't feel good to be overweight, and it isn't healthy.
I feel like if we don't actually take the opportunity to dive into the weight issue that we have, or that we have had, or that we're having, we miss a huge opportunity for personal growth. Like, my weight has taught me so much about myself and the world and all the people in it. And so not to deal with it, or to step over it, to bypass it into some kind of fake positivity, sometimes it is fake positivity, is not really like the getting to the gold of what it has to offer us. That's just been my experience, and the thousands of people that I've been able to help. There's just been such a gem inside of that. And this is a great segue to talking about what you offer people every day in your positive reinforcement.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about what you're offering in that way.
So I do, in general, I do Peace Warriors. I was telling you guys a little bit about that, which is the attempt to, as a whole in a society, raise our vibration, in hopes to ascend and to be a higher vibrational society. It's little steps. It's called Peace Warriors, #Peace Warriors, but it's only on my stories right now, where I kind of share little acts or things that you can do in the day that are going to be a positive thing to another person or to yourself, to then raise the vibration. Because when you are positive, you can then be positive and bring other people up around you.
We are so powerful, right? As creators,
Very.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So exciting.
I might say something like, today's Peace Warriors was to greet people. So if you didn't know them or you don't see them, in California, we don't do this. Other states, they do. Other countries, they do. But we don't really greet. In Vegas, we didn't as well. You just greet people. So just letting people feel seen, no matter if they're homeless or whatever they are, like just letting people feel seen. That smile act, even with a smile, can, now there who was here, just from hello or vibrating here, that small thing can then be, catapulted to other things. Yesterday it was allow yourself to feel your human emotions. Don't get stuck in them, but if you're feeling them, sad, happy, whatever it is.
Love that.
Yeah.
So that's #Peace Warriors?
Hashtag Peace Warriors.
Where can they find you?
On Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. If you Google Misty Marie, I usually pop up, my MD pops up, so you can see like kind of work that I've been doing. I've got a couple movies on Amazon right now, which is kind of exciting. The chat page, and what was the other one that just came out? Wormwood Falling is one. But yes, so we're just out here and doing great things and trying to stay positive, because I feel like that's the biggest journey, and trying to continue to love ourselves through the different challenges. Because I feel like even if it's not an outside challenge, there's inside challenge. I feel like, yes, like we've talked about me being confident on the outside, my biggest challenges now are like being happy with my choices that I'm making on the inside.
That's how you build confidence and trust.
Yeah.
And then you become great people.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm so delighted that you were here.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having
thank
me.
you for
Wait, I want to
that.
hear more about your guys' thing. You guys have been helping people. That's kind of exciting.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So when I was 10 years old, I created this method called Step It Up, or for better lack of words. And I was like, Mom, why are people like, eating like all these cheeseburgers? Like, I'm so confused. Like, why don't they just step it up to lose weight, and help themselves? Because she's been in that industry for like over
Her whole
20
life.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, my whole life. And so I was like, oh, they should just go from a double cheeseburger to a single cheeseburger one week. And then the next week they should do a turkey burger. And the week after lettuce, and then maybe a salad, but like slow changes so it works for them.
Amazing.
And then when I got older and after I lost weight and everything, I said, this is a really great idea. And there's no diet like that, because diets just make money off of the clients coming back and failing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create a lifestyle that's how I lost 140 pounds, was actually through this lifestyle where
Congratulations. That's
I
a big
started
deal.
with Burger King, and then I went to Chipotle every day, and then my Chipotle bowl went from like a burrito to a bowl with rice, with no rice, and
I did that too.
that was my step up. And then I started eating at home and making Mexican bowls at home, and it was just a slow process, but it got the weight off without dieting in 18 months, and I was able to lose 140 pounds. And that was where I was like, okay, I want to help people do the same thing without the restrictive eating, the restrictive calories, the water diets, the smoothie diets, just deprivation, hating themselves.
Yeah, and then the meal plans, like not that. Like you are totally in the driver's seat. Just learn what the choices are, and then learn the skills to cook good food, because of course I'm a total foodie. I want it to taste good. It's got to go hand in hand with flavor, and so it's got to be fun and enjoyable. And so we also have this movement practice that I have been learning about for I don't know, over 20,000 hours, where it's a combination of like dance and yoga. And it's about moving your emotions, because I believe that we're energetic beings, and that when emotions get stuck, it can help us put on weight.
Unstick ourselves.
And so we do unstick ourselves as like conscious movement, mindful movement, and it's a little cathartic. It's a little weird, and it's a little loud, but it's a lot of fun. And so it's not like the to-do of like check off my workout, but you're getting strong, but you're also you're working on your mental body, emotional body,
Getting
spiritual
used
body.
to movement.
Yeah, also. And so there's also options in it. So like if you're not doing impact.
That's really important, just to get. What was I watching something on Instagram? But someone was saying you want to be your best friend, but like your best friend from like the future. So like I fast,
Love
for
that.
instance. So I'll pick a time to stop eating. If I go past that, then I'm not really being a good best friend, right? Because then tomorrow I've got to wait that extra hour to eat. You know what I mean? Well, you want to be a good friend. So I'll be like, okay, I'll cut myself off at like, let's say 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can eat at 12 or whatever. But I try to be or like even choices with food. Try to be, like, because that's kind of what you're saying. Basically, the small choices, you had the hamburger, but then you went to Chipotle's. Well, you taking Chipotle's as being your best friend for now, the next day.
Exactly.
Which allows better choices for there.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a best friend to just drink water every day. That wouldn't be
actually
being
only
your
drink
best
water.
friend. No, but all day, every day.
She's saying like water fasting.
No, but she's saying like be your best friend, and I'm saying like and it wouldn't be us. We wouldn't be best friends to ourselves if the only thing we did was drink water.
I believe in fasting though, so I'm not going
No,
to say.
I do too. I do too. No, I do too. But I mean, just water forever, no food.
I did a lot of
Oh, you
damage
died.
fasting.
But we've done a
lot.
lot of water.
I mean, there's levels to it, right? Like there's levels. To fasting.
I honestly think I think I cleansed for sure, but I think I overdid it.
You
And
can.
then
You can never do anything.
And then I think I harmed my metabolism. And then I had to fast to be able to lose any weight ever. It is taking me, and I just learned this, by the way, in the last 5 years. It's taken me 2.5 years to like let my body know that it's okay. Like I'm okay. Like body, it's okay. And I'm here for you. Because that fasting was putting my body in like an emergency mode.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I couldn't keep the weight off. I'd like go up 30 pounds and then I'd drop down, another 30 pounds.
Intentional fasting?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did the master cleanses. I did sprout juice cleanses. I did green juice cleanses. I did all fruit cleanses. I did no fat
But
cleanses.
just like fasting though. I'm talking about like
yeah.
intermittent fasting, so you don't
yeah,
have
no,
any caloric intake during that time.
Well, yeah, no, I did that also. Yeah, 18 hours. I did 20 hours. I did 16 hours. I did 12
I do
hours.
16 right now.
Right on. Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like it though. I feel like it gives me more energy. allows me to appreciate the meals that I'm having more and be more specific on the meals that I'm choosing because I only eat during the certain times.
Right. Well, and I think adversity is really important for our bodies in general. Like we need to change it up. But I love what we do in the program just because the group support. That's really the magic. Yeah. Is the one-on-one and the group.
Positive.
Yeah, so we have a women's accountability group, and I'm in it every day. You're in it every day.
Yeah.
And we're constantly chatting with the women and keeping them accountable.
Brainstorming, if they fall off, supporting them,
Are you
encouraging
telling them
them.
they're fat and ugly?
No, I
I don't tell people they're fat
Never.
and ugly.
Never.
I just think it's okay to be honest, and if your opinion is not something people want to hear, that's okay.
Listen, the body
There's
positivity
so many
movement has
opinions
gotten a
people
little out of
have,
control. Come on, let's
and that's
face
true.
it.
The body positivity movement has
gotten
gotten
a little
out of
bit
control.
out of control.
My algorithm doesn't show me as much.
Well,
so
I was shocked when she showed me. I was like, "What is going on here?"
My algorithm
Just
is.
check out our Instagram. You will see the craziness that
I saw some of your Instagram stuff, but I didn't like it. Just I don't have like if I showed you like the last fat person that I saw that was bigger than me, that besides someone that was on like the whatever podcast, they were doing their journey to working out every day. They were just making sure they jogged every day. And whether there was a difference or not wasn't really the point. It was just like being active. And so that's the kind of stuff that I see. Like I just
we don't see
posted
that.
on my story a girl who looks like she's a little bigger than me doing burpees, jumping up, jumping down. Like these are the kind I see fat ice skaters.
very
I see
motivating.
fat ice dancers.
That's great. I
That's
want
the kind
more
of
of
stuff that I
that.
see.
But that's like a small. That's like this
You're
much.
saying it's
and then there's
small.
like this much. Well,
You're
For
saying
her, it's big.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what's crazy?
It's algorithm.
I purposely will search on another phone so it doesn't affect my algorithm because I don't want to see that. I'll search on another device all the things I want to see. And so I've searched like healthy body positive people and unhealthy body positive people, and there's way more unhealthy than healthy. And like you said, the companies benefit from these people.
There's probably more unhealthy people than healthy people.
TikTok and all these apps are totally going to push. Obviously, they're going to push the, obese people.
freak shows.
The freak shows because it benefits all the companies they're in bed with.
Well,
right?
I just really want to be a stand for correct knowledge about food, about carbohydrates, about protein, about what the right thing is to do. And we don't really even know what that is. Our orientation has gotten skewed because of our education system and our families. You came from a good family.
The diversity of the people in this country.
Yeah, that's true.
Not everyone can eat the same thing.
I
or
know,
should.
or can't afford to.
Or that too.
That's a huge problem that we run up into. But it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for having us. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for your stand.
Yes.
I love your strength.
You guys were so nice. You were like, if we have different opinions, don't be scared to show it. And I'm like, no, I won't.
Woo! I love it. I love
a long
it.
time to get here. That's probably why I'm also passionate about.
No, it's great. It took me a long time to get here physically too. Well, thank you so much, Misty, for coming on. We loved having you and hearing your honest opinions. We need more honesty in the world. I truly believe this. And if you want to find Misty, you can just check out our socials. They'll be linked in the description. But you want to say one more time where you're at?
Yeah, Misty Marie Actress is my Instagram. Misty Marie Acts is my TikTok. Misty Marie on Google, anything.
Great. Amazing. And we will see you guys on the other side. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. And comment down below what you thought of this podcast.